One day, when I got home, I couldn't find my husband anywhere. He had left without telling me, and I couldn't find any clues about where he went. A few days later, I discovered that he and my sister had run away together to get married. That was 12 years ago. Recently he called me and said he was coming back home with my sister, his wife now, and that I should leave his parents' house. He was upset that I was living there. It's been 12 years since they ran away, and it seems like he wants to make my sister his wife officially now that things have calmed down. But they don't know. They don't realize how much our family, including me, has changed since then. My name is Melanie Miller, and I'm 27 years old. I studied web design and worked at a company where I met my husband Shane. Shane is a friendly guy who works in sales. We fell in love quickly and got married after a year of dating. After we got married, we moved in with his parents. I quit my job at the company and started working as a freelance web designer from home. I wanted to take care of our home and support my husband's lifestyle. At first, it was hard for me to find a steady job, so my income wasn't always reliable. But now things had changed. I was able to find work easily and make a steady income. I could work at my own pace and prioritize my family. I cherished the time I spent with my husband and his family in the mornings, evenings, and before bed. Life felt really good. But I started to notice a change in my husband's behavior. It began when I started making twice as much money as I did at my previous job just 2 months earlier. I was thrilled to have reached and exceeded my old salary. I couldn't wait to tell my husband when he got home from work. Shane, guess what? Last month, I made twice as much as I used to at my whole job. What? Seriously? Your old job paid pretty well, didn't it? Yeah, but I've been wanting more. I finally did it. Yeah, sure, that's great. You want me to throw you a party? My husband's response was unexpectedly sarcastic and negative. I couldn't understand why he was acting that way, so I asked, Shane, are you upset with me about something? Did I do something wrong? I thought you'd be happy for me. Why should I be happy? My salary didn't increase. Well, yes, but can't you just be happy for me, your wife? Really? I'm not like you. I'm just not naturally happy. Shane. After that argument, my husband started to withdraw more and more each day. Our talks became less frequent until I was the only one saying good morning and good night. Even though we had only been married for a year, it felt like we were far from happy. My in-laws, who we lived with, could sense the tension but never said anything. 2 months passed and nothing changed. We ate together in silence, and he always controlled the TV. When I was watching something, he would eat all the food I bought without asking. Whenever I tried to talk to him about it, he would argue, so I stopped bringing it up. One day, while I was cleaning the house, my mother-in-law approached me looking concerned. Melanie, how are you feeling? Are you all right? What do you mean, am I all right? Well, when you and Shane first got married, you used to go out and have a good time together. But lately, it seems like you don't do that much anymore, and you hardly talk. Yeah, but we've only been married for a year, I replied, trying to brush off her concern. I forced a smile to reassure her, but she could tell it wasn't genuine. She looked at me seriously. If you don't want to talk about it, that's okay, but I worry about you. Lately, it seems like you've been feeling down. Well, I'm not pretending to be okay. Your father has noticed it too. We're just concerned that you might be overwhelming yourself. Oh, Mom. I couldn't deny that my husband's discomfort with my higher income might have been partly my fault. But at the same time, I felt alone in my achievement. When my mother finally acknowledged the pain I was feeling, it brought tears to my eyes. So I decided to open up to her completely. After hearing everything I had to say, she started to comfort me and said, I'm so sorry. He's just not mature enough to be genuinely happy for your success. No, it's my fault. I was selfish to expect him to be genuinely happy for me. But you shouldn't have to deal with this alone in a marriage, Melanie. Keeping your feelings bottled up will only make things worse. I don't think it could get any worse. All right, so you and Shane really need to have a serious conversation about this. Can you do that? Yes, I can. Thank you for confiding in me, honey. She smiled warmly at me. Of course. Then she gave me a comforting pat on the head. My in-laws love me like their own daughter. They've been my support. Taking my mother-in-law's advice to heart, I decided to have a serious talk with my husband. That night, I stayed up late, waiting for him to come home. But as the hours passed, there was no sign of him. He usually got home by 10 at the latest, but it was already past 11, and he still hadn't returned. Why are you taking so long? I texted him, but he didn't respond. I started to worry that something might be wrong. I tried calling him, but he didn't pick up and the phone just kept ringing. So I waited anxiously. Finally, around midnight, he walked in. I've been trying to reach you, I began, but he just sighed loudly and looked annoyed. What's going on? Why are you still up? Well, I wanted to talk to you about something important today. About what? He replied, sounding annoyed. I think our issues started because of my new salary, right? I should have maybe kept that to myself. I know it might have hurt your pride. As soon as I said that, I felt a shiver down my spine. He was standing there, looking cold and distant. I was scared stiff. He responded with anger. There's nothing to talk about, and it's pathetic that you're waiting up for me. I'm just trying to make things better between us, Shane. That's the problem. I obviously made a mistake in choosing the right partner. No, I'm exhausted from working overtime. You don't have any right to speak, considering you just stay home all day. My husband stormed past me and headed upstairs to our room. I couldn't bring myself to move until I was sure he was upstairs. Why was he talking to me like that? All I wanted was a normal married life. My mother-in-law had encouraged me to talk to him, but it didn't solve anything. After his attitude, I didn't want to push for another conversation. It felt like he completely ignored me as a person, and it left me feeling bitter. 2 more months passed and still we didn't talk. The days seemed endless, slipping by in a blur. Then, one day, I came home to find my husband gone. I went into his room and something felt off. Huh? Shane's room is never this tidy. Shane isn't exactly known for being neat, but his room was strangely clean. His clothes and suitcase were gone. It hit me then, he'd moved out. I tried calling my in-laws, but their phone was either off or disconnected. Just as I was panicking, my sister, Mimi, called me. Hi sis, it's been a while. Mimi, I can't talk right now. Is he? Your husband isn't there, is he? What? How did you know? Something's not right, I said, feeling a sense of unease. I'm with your husband right now. What? What do you mean? Well, I happened to be at the bar, and I ran into him there. We had a drink, and he mentioned that you two weren't really getting along. Mimi, no, you can't be serious. I am. I'm dating him now, and we're planning to get married, so don't try to stop me. Going away. That's ridiculous. Bring Shane back home right now. I'm sorry I can't. I've actually had feelings for him for a while now, and he's tall and handsome. I'm taking him. Then she hung up. I tried calling her back many times, but she never answered. Instead, she sent me pictures. There were dozens of photos of them together, going on dates, smiling. It was really hard for me to see. A few days later, I received the completed divorce papers signed by Shane. When I called his workplace, they told me he had already quit. I knew I couldn't deal with this on my own anymore. I decided to tell my parents and in-laws about what was happening and ask for their support. So Shane and Mimi are together now. He left his job and wants me to sign the divorce papers, I explained. There was a stunned silence. Then my father-in-law spoke up after a moment. Melanie, I'm truly sorry for our son's foolishness. You don't have to forgive us, and you don't owe us anything. Oh, Father, I can't forgive your sister either. You're like a daughter to me. I can't forgive them for hurting my precious daughter. Everyone echoed his sentiment. In that moment, our feelings towards Shane and Mimi changed completely. My in-laws were already considering moving to a new house, and after this they said, we want nothing to do with our son anymore. And they moved without telling him. My parents also decided to cut ties with my sister. If she ever comes back, we'll act like we don't know her. Someone who would betray their own sister like that isn't our daughter, they said. So I decided to go back home to my parents. I asked for alimony from Shane as part of the divorce agreement. He replied, you'll get it when I get my divorce. Eventually, I received several million yen in alimony along with a message, divorce me. Once the divorce was finalized, I cut all ties with Shane and Mimi. It's been 12 years since then, and a lot has changed. My in-laws demolished the house we lived in and sold the land. I've become more successful as a web designer, and my income has grown significantly. Thanks to this, I can travel often with my parents and live a fulfilling life. Today, while I was working, I got a call. Without checking the caller ID, I answered, thinking it was a client. But instantly, it brought back unpleasant memories. It's been a while, Melanie. How have you been? Shane's voice echoed. I knew you recognized your ex-husband's voice, he chuckled. He's still spouting nonsense like before. What do you want? After 12 years, now you want to talk? I could hear him chuckle. No, you're in my house. Leave within the next 10 minutes. What? What are you talking about? We're facing some financial trouble anyway. I'm heading there now. I'm bringing my wife home to our house. You need to leave my parents' house now. It seems he still believes I'm living with his parents. He thinks that after 12 years, things have settled down and they'll finally be accepted. In the background, I hear my sister saying, "That's right, get out of there." But they really have no idea. Do they really think that just because it's been 12 years, everything is forgiven? The world isn't that forgiving, and I won't make it easy for them. But I took a deep breath and replied, "If you want to go home, go ahead. But I'm not at your parents' house anymore." "Oh really? Did my dad kick you out?" "How clueless can you be? Your parents' house is gone, Shane." "Huh? What do you mean it's gone?" Shane's voice started shaking with anxiety. At that moment, he arrived where the house used to stand. He screamed, "What the hell?" And I could hear the pain in his voice. I continued, "As soon as you ran away, we cut ties with both of you. Your parents moved out, and my parents completely disowned the woman you're with. There's nowhere for you to come back to." "Are you serious? How is this even possible?" "Believe it or not, it's up to you, but neither your parents nor mine consider you family anymore. You've proven you're not worthy since you both destroy people's lives." That's awful. But who's to blame for ruining your family? Don't ever call me again. I won't let you ruin my life any more than you already have. With that, I hung up and blocked their number. This time, I cut the last tie. After their failed attempt to go to his parents' house, they tried to come to mine, but my parents have already disowned her. My sister was crying loudly, but my parents just asked, "Who are you?" and ignored them at the gate. Then they both got down on their knees, begging, "Please forgive us. We have nowhere to go, please." Shane was pleading too. "I'm begging you, my parents' house is gone. We have nowhere to go." "Shut up, we don't care. You're not family anymore," my parents said as they sprinkled salt on the front door. "No, please wait, no please, I'm begging you," my father-in-law pleaded. "You don't get to call me that. Get out of here." They were so persistent that my father ended up sprinkling salt on them, and my mother called the cops for trespassing. They haven't been seen since. Last I heard, they were jobless, homeless, and asking their friends for money. But word got around about them, and no one was willing to help. And even if they returned to their hometown, they'd face the same fate. But they brought it on themselves. They made their bed, and now they have to lie in it. My parents and I will never see them again, and they'll spend the rest of their lives regretting their choices.